Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we're off for more of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And in the last episode, we completed the Swamp Palace, the only water dungeon in the game, which wasn't located in the actual swamp, but more like the Marshlands, because in the Swamp of Evil, we're now in the Misery Mire. Well, I guess the Mire is, you know, another word for the swamp, but this dungeon doesn't really have anything to do with that. It's the misery thing that we need to focus on. Starting immediately off in this dungeon, before I can actually talk about other things, our immediate first puzzle was that we need the hookshot to get across. Or so it seems. I want to immediately showcase off a little trick. It's called the Bonk Jump. You can actually get through this without the hookshot, and this is the only time where you're absolutely required to have it. What you want to do is, you want to be bonking off of this little block here. So what we want to do is face the thing, well, face in the direction of what we want to bonk off of. Use the spear attack to angle ourselves a little bit further away so that we can face it like this, so that when we're using our Pegasus shoes, we're not actually grabbing it. Then all you got to do, once you bonk, hold in the direction that you're going in, and you just make it over the edge, very barely. Also, notice that this pit doesn't actually take us down below. It's a bottomless pit. Well, if we go down the stairs, you'll see that there's actually an enemy in the way, and there is flooring. Because the enemy is there, it's treated as a bottomless pit because you can't land on top of the enemy. It's not going to be... I mean, if that actually happened, we would have just landed and then immediately get hit. But, you know, for the sake of solving a puzzle, that's why it's a bottomless pit. So, in the terms of the spatial awareness, it kind of half makes sense and half doesn't. Also, there are wizrobes shooting at me, and they can't get me. So, that's a thing. But yeah... Going between in and out of every dungeon, like almost every episode, that's kind of the thing with A Link to the Past. It's got, like, it's probably like one of the few games, the other being like, that comes immediately to mind is A Link Between Worlds and Twilight Princess. They have a lot of dungeons in the game. Except for, you know, this doesn't have as many side quests as Twilight Princess. Yeah, these wizrobes, we can take them out in one hit with our tempered sword. That's pretty much fine. Also, layering snafu there with the Beamos. Don't know if that's a remake thing or what. But yeah, the wizrobes are actually easy to defeat. You can't block their beams, but they definitely have been nerfed since Zelda 1. And if you defeat them, they're actually quite generous with their health drops. And you're going to need them because this dungeon's theme is traps and pain. It's a gauntlet. It's basically like a Zelda 1 dungeon. It's mostly combat focused, as well as a few trap focused things like this. We got a falling bridge here, as well as a bunch of eyeballs that will shoot us when we pass by, and mostly if you face them. If you face away, they won't shoot you for the most part. Okay, that one will. Okay, these ones don't act the way I think. I don't normally test with these ones, I normally just run right through, as you saw with the bridge here. But it's led us to the big chest, which we can't open, so I'm going to have to remember to come back here, and it is really easy to forget that chest. You could be on a roll with the dungeon, and you'll be on the opposite side, and then you will forget to come back, so you've got to remember to come back. Very easy to forget. So yeah. If you didn't actually make it across that bridge, this would be the only other door you can take, and it will take you back across here. As you saw up top there, up the north in that room, we couldn't get that chest because the blue blocks are in the way, so we need to find a crystal switch to whack. So, gonna have to figure out where we can find one of those. I mean, we've got a lot of these platforms as well that's stopping us from going this way, which conveniently enough would lead to the locked door right over there. I can't actually get it on screen, but on the SNES version you probably would. If I come over here, you might see. There we are. There's the locked door. That's the thing. But this is the only way we can go at the moment. But this is a pretty big room. This is a pretty big dungeon. It sprawls for quite a bit. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is knock out these two things. And watch out for these torches. They will shoot fireballs that, you know, despite being rude, don't actually match their colour. I'm going to dash right across here. Because there is a bridge right here. I normally leave this last, but then I would have to backtrack, because if I was on the bridge to the left here later on, I could hookshot across. But we get an early key, yeah, we get an early key that is actually the spare key of the dungeon, because you don't actually have to open up the locked door that I just showed you. The one that leads to that chest. In fact, if I go into this room, we'll leave the room to the left for later, bypass this area completely. Yeah, this door is completely optional. That you can get the chest from here and then go straight back up if these switches were pressed down, because you can't even get through that door unless you can get past the blue block on the opposite side anyway. So you can actually completely avoid opening that door, but for the sake of being completionist, I'm not going to do that. And you can see why this dungeon's a bit of a pain. Actually, you know what, I'm going to take a lot of damage here if I don't pop this on. Yeah, if you didn't have the magic cape, you will just have to tank the damage, because remember, the magic cape is technically completely optional. You can just damage tank the spikes and get the switch and chest pressed in order to actually get that small key to get through the door. So, actually, I would like those. There we are. I went mostly the magic than anything else. We can now go through this door. And something about the BMOs, actually. They reused that exact design. We'll go through that left door later. In fact, we won't actually go through the door, but we will go to it later. But yeah, it's like the BMOs, those designs returned in Four Swords Adventures, but in that game you can actually destroy them. So, yeah, this game is the first game that introduced BMOs, and you can't do anything about them. They're invincible, and they're a pain in the bottom. Especially in this dungeon, because this dungeon, as I said, is nothing but a gauntlet. Although, there is a nice set piece here, which is a little bit weird. Looks like a fish with an arrowhead. And this arrow looks like it's going to point to this wall, but there is actually nothing beyond that wall. Remember, we don't actually have the map yet, so that wouldn't tell us, unless there was a little tag nut. But an easy way to remember this room is actually through the map itself, because it's like hanging at the very top left corner of the entire dungeon, which is where a crystal switch is located. So the map itself is more of a set piece or a memorable location than the map itself, although, this, like as I said, this does look like a bonefish. Which makes sense. We've got a lot of skeletal beings in this room right now, and I will be if I'm not tanky enough to survive. Thank you, blue mail, and all the heart containers I have. I don't think I was quick enough. I got it! I almost pressed the start button there as well. As I normally do. Why is the Tingle Tuner and Wind Waker in this game the only ones where you press select to bring up the inventory? I mean, I guess it's the same in Twilight Princess as well, since you have to use, like, the D-pad or something. Because pressing pause takes you to the pause screen, but it still takes you to an inventory screen. So, it still feels natural. Ouch. Because A Link to the Past is more of a quick select wheel than anything else. But we can't go through that room yet. Ouch. As you saw when I was going past those spikes, I didn't actually get hit by the floor itself, because, I just hugged the seam that you can actually walk on, so yeah, you can just avoid the damage that way. I think that's the intended method. I mean, you could probably hookshot, not these blocks, but you can hookshot back up the room if you land your shot right, so... Also, I was dodging that spike trap like it was nothing. Kill you quick before you chuck a bone at me. Both these cracks aren't bombable. I mean, we still don't have the map, so we wouldn't be able to tell that way, unless, you know, it's generous enough. You can tell where you're missing rooms because the little notches leading to empty spaces. We haven't been in those rooms yet. But we can't go to the one on the left, and you really want to get into that room as early as possible because it's an easy chest that is absolutely forgettable. And you don't really need it either, but, you know, being a 100% walkthrough, I will grab because I'm like that. So we're not able to go up this way. Well, we are able to go up this way, excuse me, if these switches are... the crystal switch was pressed to blue. Leads to another key, and it's a little thing there. We can now go back and around to go grab the chest. That was at the beginning of the level. Sluggulars drop bombs when you attack them. They are actually quite generous on dropping bombs that you can use. But one slash is all they need with the Tempered Sword. Pretty easy. But the bombs that they lay, for some reason, count to the door still being locked. Interesting, that. But we can head back whenever we want, so that's perfectly fine. And because now we've actually hit the crystal switch, as I've already mentioned, we can now actually go get this chest down here, which is what I was heading back for. And as I said, we don't even need to open up this door, but I'm going to because we kind of actually do need to go back in that direction, and it's a lot quicker. But you can easily skip this. However, there is a little bit of magic in this little pot, so that's quite helpful. So yeah, this dungeon is just nothing but pain, traps, and confusion. It's mostly combat focused. So now that we have the map, we can actually see where we need to go. Again, don't forget about the big chest. We still need to go to those two rooms on the left, but one of those, well, you can actually see that the arrow is pointing toward other rooms beyond the basement first floor, which we've only done half of so far, more like 2/3. But we do need to backtrack, so that's a thing. But yeah, we can't bomb through that wall because it wasn't a hollow wall. We didn't get the twang. We only got the ting. So there's another door that we can't go in because we need the big key. There's another door that's locked, but we can loop around if we take the bottom left room and loop our way round up. So we will be doing that. But we do need another key in order to do so. But this does give us access to another crystal switch if we so need it. It's a shame that the boomerang can't affect the Baris in this this game. It's funny how the boomerang did actually start to affect them in Ocarina of Time and onwards. Yeah, I want this, because I've taken a tad bit of damage, and I would like... Are you serious? My health back! There we go. Now, we'll go down in a bit. Oh, wait, no, I need to change to... Yeah, I'll use the fire rod, I've got enough magic. Wait, why did I whack that? I need it on blue. Just trying to knock the skulls away more than anything else. So, we don't need to worry about the tiles here. Just light the torches and you can skip this thing. There's no chest that will spawn if you wait for them. It's to waste your time. It's another trap. I mean, as if tile traps weren't traps already. Yeah, this is a very forgettable chest, because you may not think to come up here into this room, because it's a one-way room. You enter from the bottom, and you cannot enter from the side. The switch also needs to be blue. What do you get? The useless compass. Easily forgettable. I don't even know why it's surrounded by spikes. Why would you walk? Why would you... You can't open from the side. I guess people would think to try that, since it's blocked from the front. But we don't need to go all the way around again. We can just go back down, since the door still stays open. From that side, at least. And now we can go back down this way. Hapoosh! Now you're a fire slug from Ocarina of Time. How do you feel? Pretty fired up, if I do say so myself. Seriously, this room's just mean. One enemy for you to take care of, but two BMOs that can go out of sync if one decides to try and potshot you. And all for a tease. Don't you just love this dungeon? It's living up to its name on being a misery inside of the mire. It's mired with misery. It's just golden opportunity for easy puns that would make anybody cringe. And Old Viking will probably want to kill me. Well, this dungeon might do that, you never know. But, you know, I'm pretty good at this game, so I shouldn't die. I mean, yes, I got knocked out a couple of times, but I prepared with fairies. And because I was getting a little bit, you know, too reckless. I mean, I haven't actually commentated on playing this game before. Like, I haven't even practiced it with speaking and being informative. Some games I have done, just so I know that I can, you know, multi-manage while talking and everything. Because your attention does tend to drift a bit. Because you have to divide things to talk about while playing the game, so you don't mess up and look like a fool. Scatlink hit his eye, Sahasrara the Elder set the 4 torches alight, and the way ahead shall surely open. Huh. Well, we couldn't reach that ledge, but if we check the map here... Can't get into the room to the left because there's no holes. And we can't get to the room on the right of the sector below that we're in. Remember, like the square that we're in that's flashing? That's the sector that we're in on both floors, and the flashing dot is where we are currently located. If I could drop down to the room that we're in now, that would give us the chest. Maybe lighting all the torches will open up a hole. A bit of an odd room, though, to put a telepathic tile. Specifically for this puzzle. I guess the gods somehow like us, or they just don't want to be corrupted. But there is an easy way to set this up. Make it so that when you're from the door, you can go in a diagonal movement easier. So I like to push these in a specific way. You don't have to, but you can't get the, Actually, I better show it off, just so you guys know. You can't use the flame rod over blocks, but you can over these guardrails. So it's really only this room you need to do it in, and not this room, because you can go to the bottom part of the room here and do it. But you can push these blocks out of the way as well to set things up. So keep that in mind. But if you do it that way, you might as well just use the lamp, since it will cost you a lot less magic. Because even though it does the same thing, remember the fire rod hurts a lot more, so it costs a lot more magic because it's also a long range attack. Also, these 2 rooms are connected for the 4 torches because the blocks haven't moved, going back and forth, because they're once again in the same sector. And also, these Wizrobes, they're infinitely spawning, so only take care of them if they're in your way or you definitely need some health, because, as I said, they can be pretty generous with their health drops. They have really been cushioned since Zelda 1. Actually, they've been cushioned since Zelda 2, because they were a pain in that game as well. You could only defeat them by using basically the guard spell to basically make your shield a mirror shield. So we've only seen this shaky effect a couple of times before, and it's normally involving a wall moving. No walls seem to have moved in this room, and it wouldn't have happened above either. Well, normally, yeah, this wall has now moved, and it's given us a clear path on what to do now. If you solved the puzzle beforehand, you might be a bit confused, because the room would obviously look like this when you entered. So, yeah, that could be a bit confusing. The thing is, though, is that, normally when the walls can move, you normally see, like, differences in the tiles surrounding the walls, letting you know it's fake. That was very well disguised. And it led to the big key, which feels very well earned, to be perfectly honest. Now we can open the big chest. Don't forget. We need to remember that. It might actually be worth using the mirror if we didn't have any other rooms to go in. Yeah, this dungeon doesn't have much water for being in a swamp. This is like one of the few instances. Let's just see where it lasted. We can go north as well and take that door. So we could do. Or we could, you know, go down this way. And make our way back to the main room, because we need to make our way across in order to get the big chest. Yeah, like I said, if you went straight up and opened up that key, again, it's a trickery of the game. If you went up, look, as soon as you get the big key, you warp into that room where there's a locked door that the big key is required for. You take that, you warp to another room, you go onwards, and then you realise, oh shit, didn't go back for this. And you need it to get through the dungeon. So, yeah, it really does trick you. This dungeon is a confusing bastard. Also, I had to pause for a moment because I had a little, I had to sneeze. You got the Cane of Samaria. If you use it strategically, this magic cane will be of tremendous help. Reason being is that if we equip it and use it, it doesn't really tell us what it's used for. It could spawn your own block. You can push it. It's also very fast to push, like the knight statues. But another perk is that you can pick it up, and you can toss it at enemies, which does decent damage. Although, if the block itself contacts too many things at once, it will disappear after a while. It'll also disappear if you chuck it into a pit, which I'm not going to do right now, because there's one other thing that you can do with this. Shoot 4 Hydra beams in like 4 directions. They're not fire beams, you can't use them to light torches. But, yeah, you can actually do damage with that. So, very versatile. We'll just head back through this door, since we can. And head back to where we would have warped, and would have made a massive mistake if we didn't go back. Because as you can see, only one more room left to go in, and that was the room that we did not go into when we had the big key. So we need to go back for that. That's here, isn't it? Yep, it's north, east, north. You know what, screw it, there's another chance. There's another chance that's a lot easier and more convenient. So let's pop that in there. And another warp tile. I'm going to prepare. Take this. Ah! Pabooshki! Haploof! Gotcha! No, gotcha, I said. Gotcha, you fool! There we are. That was rude. Kept duking and vibing. You know what? I'll just have that equipped. I'm gonna have to equip it in a minute anyway. Oh, no! Well, that sucks. Yep, we can't even pick up pots as a bunny. I don't think I've mentioned that. Oh, yeah, there were bushes that we could have dealt with. A lot of these traps. You know what? You're not getting me. Screw off. But yeah, did say we would go into that room again at some point, but not in the way that you would have thought. Because we're on the opposite side of this bridge now, and yeah, like I said, you could have hookshot over to that chest if you so wanted. Which, if you do go down here, there is a locked door, and if you're missing a key, that's why I call it an optional key, because the room's actually not necessary to beat the level, you might have to go grab that key. But at least they stick a key right next to the area that you're going to go into. Basement, 2nd floor. What a room, because it is nothing but fireballs. Since we have a spare key, we can go straight in here, take care of that gel. There we are. Or Zol, one of the two. They don't split in this game, so it's probably just Zol. Yeah, a little bit of cash in a very teeny-weeny room. Bit of a bottleneck, considering I can't store the money, but fair enough. Not much, though. Ah. Gee. Wonder what you need to do. Yes, the item that I was talking about in the last episode for the final puzzle of the Ice Palace. If you had the Cane of Samaria from Dungeon 6 before you did the Ice Palace, which is Dungeon 5, you can just outright skip the final puzzle by just plopping one of these onto the switch and going about your merry way. You skip an entire additional lap of the dungeon. But yeah, in the GBA version, you can't skip. You still have to make a lap around the dungeon. Because it's not a switch. There's just a literal barrier in your way. So, yeah. That's the reason. But yeah, there's not actually much that we're missing at this point. It may look like a bit of a dark maze going here right now, but that's just because we're deep under the swamp. And again, it's a trap because, you know, you limited visibility. Fireballs everywhere that don't give off light. Don't make sense to me. And, yep, we got one more puzzle here. And this is, once again, optional. I'm actually spazzing out on the edges. I need to get down here. Pop the bomb on the wall so it doesn't get dragged by the conveyors. A little bit of a life hack for you right there. Save your bombs. Go through this little hole in the wall. And we have even more useless money. I realise I haven't brought a single potion. I will be at some point, but there's just been no need for me. Sorry if I'm a bit too good at this game. Good to the point that... Okay, that was an interesting bonk. How the hell did that happen? I kind of like got pushed into the wall due to the conveyors, but that made me bounce downwards, and yet I was facing to the right. That was wacky. Don't normally have that happening. Oh no, we need to hit the switch. Because if you remember, we haven't hit the switch once since we hit it the first time when we first found one. Thankfully, we can just use the boomerang and whack that. Come back in this room. Tally-ho, tally-hey. And we can't progress again. Well, that's interesting. We can't exactly lay a bomb in another room and wait for it to explode. Because it's in a different... It's not in a different sector, but the bomb won't explode if you're not in the same room. Yeah, the enemies defuse it. That's my in-canon reason for why that doesn't work. It should work, but it won't. So we're just going to have to blow open this wall. But watch out, because there are little rats that will pop out of it. I think they're called Zorro. They're not the black pose from Majora's Mask or what inspired them. It probably inspired them, but I don't know why they had a name change. Maybe it's because they were called Zorro? I don't know. Could use a bit of health here, actually. Can I get them both at once? I want to get both at once. No, this isn't going to happen. I'm going to lose all my magic in a minute. Ouch. Okay, this isn't working out well. There we go. Okay. I've got no magic. It's not good. Ouch. I said watch out. What do? I just walk straight into them. Brain. Just whack that. Yep, so you actually enter that room, but, you know, you won't be able to reach the money unless you find out that there's a blow-up wall. Actually, I don't think you can see that blow-up-able wall on this side of the screen, can you? Barely. You can. You barely can, so that's your clue. So if you didn't see the crack wall in the previous room, that's the easiest way to notice. But that's not a problem, because now we are back in the light! Although... there are gels just raining from above. So that's not pleasant. However, if you do need additional magic, it might be worth your while to grind up on these. Because just like the whiz robes from, you know, the puzzle to get to the big key, these Zols are infinitely spawning in this room. Although they will stop dropping, well, drops after a certain while. But if we can kill a few, we might be able to get some magic drops. I'm actually hoping to have one magic drop at least. There we are, okay. Got a bit of magic drop. So what I'm going to try and do right now is see if these things survive a whack from the ice rod. Yes, they do. Okay, can I get some magic? Yes! There we go! Full recovery! I guess the best thing about, like, halving magic cost instead of doubling your magic in general is that, you know... a full magic refill is still a full magic refill because your total hasn't changed. Your consumption is halved. If our magic was actually doubled, I would have to pick up 2 of those to be at max magic if I was completely empty. But instead, yeah, so instead of doubling your magic, it halves your magic cost. So, pretty helpful actually. I think I prefer that. Especially since the game can be difficult at times. I mean, I know I keep saying it is difficult. It truly is. It's just, you know, I've been playing it for years and got better over the years. I did classify this as one of my most difficult Zelda games. I still technically do because it is a challenging game. Because of the damage output until you get the blue mail. But once you get the blue mail, things tend to ease up a tad. It's still challenging to a certain point. You still have to think about your health. But it's not as evil. You really need to go hunting for those heart pieces early on, which I have been doing because... you know, side quests have slowed to a crawl. I would have actually liked to hit you before the boss. If you please. You dick. You are a coward. You're a coward and a heathen. Are you serious? I missed. I mean, I know the range of this is rubbish, but... that cost me half my goddamn magic. Well, we're here. Did the dungeon. Let's go in. Well, there's the last of the water in this dungeon. Do not stand in the middle. That is suicide. Stand in the corner here and, you know, just slash at the eyeballs that come towards you. They will do quite a bit of damage. That lightning will do even more so. Don't go walking up to the eyeballs. Let them come to you. Just slash them when they approach. May not do the most damage, but, you know, it keeps them at bay for the most part. Okay, you just want to stay there. Fair enough. I think he bugged. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. I'm really confused. I don't know why those eyeballs got stuck there. That wasn't the limit of their range. But yeah, this is why you want to stay away from the middle part of the area because of that lightning. You cheeky bastard! Okay, I'm actually going to have to pop up a fairy. Didn't exactly work out the way I hoped, but this guy can pack the damage. There we are. But yeah, other items can work, such as the bow, but, you know, they probably take as many hits, if not more, than the tempered sword at least. Why did you stop? It's because I whacked him. I don't remember them stopping when you whack them, like, completely halted. But once all the little eyeballs are taken care of, except for the initial 4 for some reason, he will start to move. You can whack him. Literally, his weakness is either the sword or arrows. You know the routine. Just keep shooting arrows at him. He can't approach you. Or if you just keep slashing again, he can't approach you, and he's just going to walk into your blade. And with that, we can enter the ooze. There is no longer poison within it. Oozing from the eyeball, or that is he. And we claim yet another medallion. Housing a maiden. Only one more to go. Scatlink, because of you, I've escaped from the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you. Ganon captured us because he couldn't break the seal of the sages with his power alone. Or with the power of the Triforce? And then, using the wizard Aghanim as his pawn, he drew us into the Dark World. So Zelda's just not gone. Just like you guys, you were brought here and then sealed into crystals, guarded by monsters. Makes sense to me. After cracking the seal with our powers, he sealed us inside of these crystals. He then gave us to his loyal monsters, but Ganon didn't plan on you getting this far. Well, gonna be a bit of a weird surprise considering I'm at 18 out of 20 heart containers. I'm gonna be pretty tanky for the challenges ahead. Now, Princess Zelda is waiting for you inside of Turtle Rock. Please hurry. Do you understand? Indeed. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Split it up! And there we are! Misery Mire is done, and therefore the Swamp of Evil is done as well. We do not need to be here anymore. So, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have to use the mirror in order to get out of this zone. Thank God I'm not standing in geometry. Because, in fact, actually, since I'm here... No, I'm on the floor. Never mind then. But yeah, it's like, we need to warp out anyway because we can't leave or enter the Swamp of Evil without, you know, being stuck. So what we're going to have to do is warp back to the Light World. And we can now actually do something in the Dark World which I want to wrap up this episode with. I need the hammer, because we need to go back into the Dark World. Once we have the maidens, the crystals from dungeons 5 and 6, there is something we can do. Remember the bomb shop? I said that they may have additional stock at a later time. Crystals 5 and 6 are the trigger. So once we you know, have those 2 crystals, there's a new bomb in stock. 100 rupees of ready bombs. Also have a new super bomb in stock for only 100 rupees. Please buy 2, mister. Well, I definitely want this. Thank you very much. You can drop this bomb off anywhere. Just dash away from it. Please don't forget it. Yes, so just like with the purple chest, if I dash away from this thing, it is going to blow. And there is only one use for this. I mean, you can use it against enemies, but why would you? You've got 50 of your own bloody bombs. Thank God it doesn't get set off alight by other bombs as well. I've never tried taking this out of the Dark World, and you know what? This is a good time to experiment. And as I... Okay, does that bush always have a fairy if blown up by a bomb? What the actual hell? Interesting. You know what? I'm going to do it right now. I've never done this before, and I shouldn't really experiment on camera, but you know what? I'm going to do it. We can actually bring this into the Light World, so that actually gives me a bit of a shortcut. What we can do is go back to the Light World after buying the Super Bomb, and head straight for, you know, Hyrule Castle without dashing. I'm just going to take the damage, go for the archway. This is the portal that the sages were on about, the gateway to Hyrule Castle has become a Dark World portal, which allows us to pretty much skip the rigmarole going around through the quarry in order to make it to this seemingly impossible wall. And if you remember, one of the transformed thieves in the Dark World that we've talked about before said that there was an immense beauty in here and it was sealed up. How about we release that beauty? And you know what? This is required to beat the game. No joke. If you mess up on that bomb, you need to buy another one for 100 rupees. It's a mysterious pond. Won't you throw something in? What will you do? Well, there's only two things I want to throw in here. I mean, it would be nice to throw in my armor, but that ain't going to work. To save yourself some time, I'm going to chuck in... Why did I chuck in my shield? I went to chuck in my sword. What I wanted to do is offer the Master Sword to a mysterious pond in the Sacred Realm. Yes, it's transformed by evil, but this weapon is connected to this plane. And who the hell are you, Helga? Hello there, did you drop this? I like an honest person. I will give you something better in return. Sorry about that, cut. I had to try and get a voice. Our sword is now stronger. You can feel the power throbbing in your hand. That doesn't sound suggestive at all, but yes, we now have the Golden Sword. The Golden Sword is the Master Sword, tempered and enhanced with the power of the Sacred Realm. That's why it's gold. It is basically imbued with the power of the Triforce, but not directly. I mean, it's connected, obviously. You know, Triforce of Courage equals hero equals wielder of the blade. Makes sense to me. That's why it's yellow. Now, there's one more thing that we can chuck in as well, and again, you wouldn't actually know this unless you failed a particular thing near the very end of the game. And then you got to know to come here. We're going to chuck in our arrows. Yeah, this game can be cryptic at times, but I'm just doing this because it's going to be a lot more helpful and I'll be able to showcase their power. Did you drop this? You are an honest person. I like you. I will give you something important. These are the silver arrows. To deal the final stroke to Ganon, you definitely need them. I know that I do not quite have the figure of a fairy. Ganon's cruel power is to blame. You must defeat Ganon. You know, she could say that and we wouldn't know any better. And also, I found her design a lot more horrifying than the ones in Ocarina of Time. I don't know about that, but, you know. These are the silver arrows you need to defeat Ganon. That's the description. These are literally his bane. Not the blade of Evil's Bane, the arrows of Evil's Bane, I guess. And they truly are. Every arrow drop that we pick up now are basically going to be silver arrows, which is kind of ironic, because it's basically like she's enhanced our bow to make every arrow we shoot silver arrows more like. It should be called the silver bow, but, you know, it's a thing from the first Zelda game that carried over. They can kill a lot of enemies in a single hit, so, yeah. I mean, if I just equip this right now, we're going to see how good it does against a Hinox, which we're supposed to use bombs against. Oh, look at that, he's gone. Oh, look at that, he's gone. What about a Snapdragon? Can we snipe a Snapdragon? Oh, it's gone. Yep, everything just dies in a single hit. It's beautiful. Alright, so, another thing that I want to do is I want to whip out the magic mirror, because I am actually going to spend a bit of money to go get a potion, since I now have an empty bottle. I wasn't planning on doing so, but I was going to pop a fairy if I wasn't at full health anyway. So let's go to the magic shop, because I might as well, and I just realised there was health there. That's not a problem. I can just walk straight in here and talk to Maple here. There we are. And all we got to do is walk up to the pot and get our money. But there is one more thing that I have unfinished business, and I need to go back to my home in order to do it. Back to the Dark World yet again. Let's go clear out that cave in the Marshlands. But yes, I did say that I would leave this cave when I'm a little bit low on money. I mean, I'm not really low, but I might as well do it now, since I'm not actually going to come back down here ever again in the Dark World. I'm pretty much done in this zone. You bastards, you know what? Feel the power of my golden blade, bitches! Hello there, good sir. I freed you from your torment. Take some rupees, but don't tell anyone I gave them to you. Keep it between us, okay? 300 rupees? That's a full wallet already. But there is also a breakable wall behind you. What have you got in your stash? It's not like I already mentioned it, like, last episode. And that's going to be it for this episode. So, guys, I will be meeting you guys back at Flute Warp 1 for Death Mountain, because that is the last location that we need to make our way towards. And there is no way on getting onto this mountain from the Dark World. We need to be on there. So it's back to the first Dark World warp we used. See you guys then.